Renewable energy should not be a political football because we need all energies.
You and I have an insatiable appetite for electricity. Come with me and we'll look at the issues relative to wind farms and the communities that they serve. This is the Windfarm Guy.
Hi, this is Dennis Stout, and thank you for joining me for this episode of the Windfarm Guy. A robust U.S. energy policy should balance reliability, affordability, and environmental impact, leveraging existing resources while transitioning toward sustainable options. Based on current infrastructure and resources, the U.S. should pursue a mix of roughly 40% fossil fuels, 40% renewables, and 20% developing technologies by 2035, with adjustments over time as technologies mature. This mix ensures energy security while addressing climate goals. For 40% fossil fuels, a natural gas of 25% and oil of 15% will remain critical due to their reliability and existing infrastructure. Natural gas, abundant domestically, is a cleaner burning transitional fuel that can back up intermittent renewables. Oil is essential for transportation and industrial needs. To obtain these, the U.S. should maintain domestic production, leveraging shale reserves like those in the Permian Basin, while streamlining permitting for efficient extraction. Offshore drilling, where environmentally viable, should continue with strict oversight to minimize ecological impact. In all honesty, coal should be phased out given its high emissions and declining economic viability. For 40% renewables, solar at 15%, wind at 15%, and hydropower at 10% are key. Solar and wind are scalable, with costs dropping significantly. Solar panel prices fell 80% from 2010 to 2020. The U.S. has vast solar potential in the Southwest and wind potential in the Midwest and offshore Atlantic. Hydropower, already reliable, can be enhanced by modernized dams. To obtain these, we need to expand our federal incentives like the investment tax credit, streamline permitting for large-scale projects, and invest in grid-scale battery storage like lithium-ion, flow batteries, and other storage alternatives to address the intermittency. Offshore wind leases, particularly along the East Coast, should be accelerated, targeting 30 gigawatts by 2030. For 20% in developing technologies, 10% nuclear, which is not really a developing technology, hydrogen at 5%, and carbon capture and storage, called CCS, at another 5%, are critical for long-term decarbonization. Small modular reactors, or SMRs, offer safer, scalable nuclear options. Hydrogen, particularly green hydrogen from electrolysis, can decarbonize heavy industry and transportation. CCS can retrofit existing gas plants, capturing up to 90% of emissions. To obtain these, we must fund research and development through DOE grants, fast-track SMR licensing, and scale hydrogen production via public and private partnerships like the Hydrogen Hubs program, a $7 billion program allocated in 2023. CCS adoption requires tax credits and regulatory clarity. What infrastructure needs are there to achieve this? Grid modernization is paramount. The U.S. grid, aging and fragmented, needs $2 trillion by 2035 to handle the integration and electrification. Key additions include high voltage transmission lines like HVDC for long distance renewable transport, smart grid technologies for demand management, and 500,000 EV charging stations by 2030 to support transport electrification. Regional interconnection reforms can reduce bottlenecks as seen in the PJM and ERCOT markets. Pipeline networks for hydrogen and CO2 transport for CCS need expansion with 1,000 miles of new pipelines by 2035. Nuclear SMRs require new licensing frameworks and dedicated manufacturing facilities. So, how can we obtain this mix? Policy should prioritize market-driven solutions with targeted government support. Streamline permitting via a one-stop federal agency to cut delays from the now 7 to 10 years for transmission lines. Expand tax credits for renewables, CCS, and hydrogen, but avoid heavy subsidies that distort energy markets. International trade can secure critical minerals such as lithium and cobalt via agreements with allies like Canada and Australia, reducing reliance on adversarial suppliers. Workforce training programs targeting 1 million new energy jobs by 2030 will support construction and operation. If you like what I've said today, be sure and click like and subscribe below. If you have thoughts or want me to address a particular topic relative to wind farms, please also leave me a comment. This balanced approach leverages U.S. strengths, abundant fossil fuels, renewable potential, and technological innovations while addressing environmental and economic realities. Regular policy reviews every 5 years will ensure adaptability to technological and geopolitical shifts. This is Dennis Stout, and I'm the Windfarm Guy.
Thank you for watching. Working together, we can make good energy decisions and save our planet. I am the Windfarm Guy.